Well, you might not think of these old baby wipes that I have here on my table as being much of a treasure, but you can turn them into one. And with this next project, I'm going to show you how to make some gorgeous fabric flowers with them. I'm going to share with you a couple of techniques that you can incorporate into your mixed media projects. And for this, I'm just going to use the basis of a tag from the office supply store. There's just a shipping tag. And I'm going to stamp a random pattern. Now, I have carved my own stamp from a pink eraser, so I've just drawn circles with a pencil and I've cut it out with a craft knife. Nothing fancy, nothing very regular about this at all. You can do any shape that you want. And I have here on my palette a very thin layer of decoupage medium. No paint, no color in the decoupage medium, but I'm going to stamp it on to my stamp, and then I'm just going to apply that real random on top of my tag. This is almost going to give a watermark effect. And you'll want to make sure that this is completely dry before you move on to the next step. And when it's dry, the next step is to come in with your color spray and just randomly spray a couple of colors on top and bottom there. You can come back in with a baby wipe. Mine is a moistened baby wipe, and you can dab that off. Where the two colors meet, they'll blend together. You have a really cool background for your tag. You can also let this dry and then later come in with a distress pad and ink those edges up like this one that I have here. So this is my completed tag, or the background of my tag, that we're going to set aside, and we're going to work on the baby white flower. I just thought these colors were really cool, and I kind of discovered this idea when I was cleaning up my workspace after I finished a project, and I saw these beautiful colors. These were what was left over when I wiped up my palette on my table. And I just knew that I couldn't let these pretty colors go to waste. So what I did is I started tearing them. And you can see they're really nice and fluffy, and they just have beautiful edges. Then I bunched them up and I thought, wow, these could make some really cool vintage looking flowers. And they do. So what you're going to do, and you can do this any size, any shape that you want, is you're going to tear these into these random round shapes. And you'll want 3 or 4 in different sizes. You'll need a large, a couple mediums, maybe a small. Sometimes I put 3 layers, sometimes I put 4 layers in there. Let me just show you how easy this tears. You just tear it in a circle. And for your center layer then, what you're going to do is you're going to bunch this up and then hold it at the bottom. I have one already threaded onto a needle and thread. So you're going to make a little stitch in the bottom, and you'll do this again. You'll put one exactly like this right next to it. This gives it an extra little bit of fluff. So tack that on. And then sew it to the base layer like I've done on this one, and spread it out. You can see that it's nice and fluffy. You can add little seed beads to the center if you want. You can add little buttons. There's so many things that you can do with these. But it makes a nice little peony type of a flower. Now, because all these colors coordinate, we're going to make a very colorful type of tag here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start collaging my tag together. Let me get a little bit of my glue. I'm going to add a piece of burlap for texture. Let's glue this on. And I have saved several different colors, and for the leaves, I've just torn them into kind of a teardrop leaf shape. Collage this on. You're going to continue to glue on all of your elements onto the front of this tag, and really anything goes. I had a little strip of fabric that I added a little button. Whatever you have laying around, use it. Now let's take a close-up look at our finished tag.